Yeah, so we're back. Today I think we're going to work on the armor some more and maybe the fur. I think the fur could do that pretty quick now that we've at least gotten some of the parts around the helmet. Kind of see where the helmet's at, where we sort of left off. Obviously there's more to do on this side, but from this view is looking pretty good. So yeah, we can, I guess, start with the fur. So what did we use last time? We used ground brown as a base, right? Shake it up. All right. So we're going to have ground brown as our base, and then we want to have some lighter tones. So we'll just grab probably bone white here, and then they're very similar, huh? Old bone white. Which one to use? Which one? Go with the Vallejo. Vallejo. So we'll go with that guy. And then we'll probably need something even lighter at the end. Maybe just a white or an ivory. Okay. So let's grab a brush. Old trusty, old faithful, size 3. So we're going to mix an intermediate tone. We want to jump up a good amount lighter than the last one. We can always tone it back down. But, all right, so you can kind of see what's going on is we've got like all these tufts, right? And we sort of want to make this soft, we want to sort of separate these tufts into like bigger sections of fur. Okay, so I'm going to leave most of the ground brown will get covered, leaving it in the shadows, just to like separate these tufts from each other. I'm going to say tufts a lot. Hello. So we are going here, right? Like we can separate this into a segment. This will be its own segment. That's a segment. Palette cam is out of focus. That makes sense. Oh, I gotta put something on it so I can see it. Huh? Then put that there so we can see that guy. Am I out of focus or am I in focus? Whoa, I'm out of focus, huh? There we go. Hi, Mad for Minis. Hi, Chibuto. All right. So you can see I'm like the sculpt is really detailed, right? It's like really deep in terms of like the sculpting is very cut and defined. I actually want to reduce that. So this is why I'm kind of trying to segment these. I don't want to focus on the individual hairs yet. That will be the next step. Right now I'm just partitioning them. Good evening. As some more people come in, I'll explain what we're going to do on Friday, but for now, let's get this guy going, huh? So the reason mainly I'm doing this, right, is because if I just immediately start highlighting these now, that chest puff, hello, how are you? Thanks for following. If I just immediately start like defining these hairs now, it's gonna look really plasticky and hard. And I don't, the idea is to get away from that, okay? Fur is soft. Hair, typically, unless it's like really wiry, right, is quite the soft thing. Okay, so I need to actually reduce the sculpted texture, and then I will paint the texture on my own. Yeah, I know it's late for Europeans. However, you can always catch the VODs on YouTube. So I always upload them the day after. So tonight, after the stream, I will upload it to YouTube. So you can always go back and watch at your own pace, or if there's something you want to see again, you can always do that. If you're like, hey, how do you do that thing? I need to see that again. You can always go back and watch it. Because I know I have quite the audience in Europe, but it is hard to catch live. So I imagine that he's wearing lion fur. This is like the lion's mane. It's a main monster in Kingdom Death, so I kind of imagine that he's likely wearing white lion fur. So that's why we're going with this lighter sort of tone here. Can you guys kind of see that it's like getting separated into clumps of hair now instead of like just one big, instead of defining immediately and leaving all those tiny shadows everywhere? Hi, Gary. I also don't want to lose the overall shape to this fur, and we'll do something about that also later, but the this like rounded shape to his fur, I want to make sure I maintain that also. I have a little thing, yes, that like I can stick them in and they hang upside down. Sometimes I just leave them on a little paper towel sitting off to the side though, so like I'll just lay them down like that. Hi, Dargza. You had to come in because it's KDM, I understand. Mr. Flamingo Paints. Hello. Flamingo Paints. That makes more sense, huh? The big thing is don't let paint dry in the ferrule, right? Like that's if you rinse your brushes often, that helps. Paint drying in the ferrule is this metal part, right? That's what'll really like mess them up. So try and avoid that. But other than that, yeah. Tarza, do you play or do you just paint Kingdom Death? Do you find that your AO lacks snap? I know there's a variance in brushes. Snap, like the brush bristles are stiff. They are on the softer side. Like the old Windsor and Newtons. Look, nothing's going to be the old Series 7, okay? We can try as we might. Even Series 7s are not the old Series 7s. But yeah, different brushes have different properties. If you like a snappier feeling, maybe try the miniatures. Might feel a little closer for you. Yes, the new Series 7s do not have the same quality control that the old ones did. Ooh, Lantern Year 20. Fighting the... Did you fight the Gambler or did you... Spoiler, sorry. Did you beat the Gambler or are you getting ready to fight him? Because that fight is awesome. That's maybe my favorite fight. Any opinion on the Chimera brushes? I was debating picking up a set of those. Sorry. Depends on which ones you're talking about. I haven't, if you're talking about the synthetics, I haven't used them. If you're talking about, where are they? I have one sitting here somewhere. The like arrow ones. don't know where they are. Sorry, I have a big brush cup and I don't know where. If you're talking about these guys, right? This shaped ones, yes, I like these. DaVinci 30 Series 35s are nice. Bruto Burrito, thanks for the Prime, I appreciate it. Speaking of Prime, if you are a sub, I guess we have enough people in here now. Let's talk about it. Friday, I will be doing a feedback stream. So, if you want live feedback on one of your pieces, you can join the Discord. If your Discord is linked to your Twitch account, and you are a sub, you will have access to a channel called Feedback Friday. If you submit photos there, I will do a live feedback session on Friday. So, join the Discord if you want. If you're a Prime and you want, or if you're a sub and you want feedback on one of your pieces, do that. And then submit your photos. It might be like 7-ish. I tend to go to dinner a little later on Friday, slightly later on Friday. Fernando Painting, hello. And Lotus K, hello, thanks for following. It could be a work in progress too. Yeah, we're still in talks about that ginger beef. Patriots 2424, thanks for following. Hello, welcome. Okay, so this is kind of blocked out the larger sections of fur here. Got a little messy part here I want to fix. So next we're going to go with more of the bone white. Okay. I want you guys to look at kind of the consistency here. So we want it pretty thick, but we want it to paint like smooth, okay? So what I mean by smooth is if your paint is too thick or not fluid enough, so you don't have enough on the brush, it'll do this. So can you, it's harder to, let me do it with a darker paint so you can see it better on the white. So this is called breaking, okay? See how it like doesn't paint a consistent line? We want it kind of, and if it's too wet, it'll do this, where it's like, looks like watercolor, where it's like too transparent, okay? We don't want that either. We want something in between the two. So we want it to cover well, but be fluid, right? Something like this, okay? This is the sort of paint consistency I'm looking for, okay? So that means a lot of people ask me, like, how do I dilute my paints? All my paint dilution is like done with on the brush and with the palette, okay? Hi, Schizo, I don't know. Hi, welcome. So I'm checking on the palette to see how my consistency is. Okay. I don't know how to say that one. Trying to make me say things that impossible. Is that French? If so, I can't do it. And even if I did it right, they'd still tell me I did it wrong. Hi, Inferno. How are you? Spray Black Studios. Hi, welcome. Welcome all new followers. Hello, hello. So, right. So now I'm focused on starting some texture, but I'm not trying to. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. He's back there. He's right over there. One of my few figures that's still in my personal collection. Oh, you want me to take him out of the cabinet? All right, hold on. I don't love taking him out of the cabinet because he's slightly wobbly now. And I don't really want to re-glue him, but I will show him. Too much traveling with him. He didn't like the vibration of all the airplanes. And I have to zoom out because he's... So this is the size of the guy we're painting, right here. And let's go way up. There we go. And this is the size of a Space Marine. Hi. No, I'm not here. You want to see the back? It's very boring. It's just like dark blue. The back is not super interesting. Grumpy Cayman, hi, welcome. Thanks for following. Well, yeah. Let's look at here. We'll zoom into... Yes, it is a traditional clay sculpture. So we'll look at some of the more interesting detail parts. So like his little beads thing, that's flat. This surface, hold on. This right here is not textured. Get it on camera. This is not textured. This is completely flat. This stuff's all flat. That's like the wood texture and stuff's painted on. All the fur texture is painted on, which is kind of what we're doing right now. Yeah. He is made out of, like polymer clay. The what's it called? Like Super Sculpey. Jarcore and Dirk Diggler V2. Aye. All right, we put him away. Okay. He's a delicate boy and he doesn't like. He likes to be in his home. Yes, he's also very heavy. Yeah, it's baked like oven baked clay. No, he's a traditional sculpt. One of Joaquin's last, actually. Now he does all digital sculpting. he gets to. You see that little wrench next to his name? It wasn't me, actually. It was Journeyman Miniatures. You can blame Tim Marsh for that one. Ibanez OS? Hi. Like the guitar? Do you find you like Opus brushes for some things? I got some, but I really haven't liked the normal brushes. I mean, I use Artist Opus brushes all the time. The Series S size 3 is my favorite. It is my favorite general purpose brush. The one I'm using right now. Yeah, the feathers are completely flat. I requested Bookeen to not like texture the feathers because I wanted to paint it on myself. I mean, if you think about how flat like a feather is in real life, like how smooth a feather is, it doesn't really make sense for a sculpture of a feather that's in miniature to have a bunch of detail all over it, you know? All right, so you can see here what I'm doing now is like, now I'm starting to paint little lines in the direction of the hair is growing, but I'm not trying to like, sometimes I'm trying to paint the actual strands that are sculpted, but mostly I'm just following sort of the like flow, let's say, of the sculpt, right? I don't. Yeah. Oh, about the class? Yes, we are still talking about that. Yeah, but you have to find a balance, right? Because, so when you're talking about like Games Workshop models and stuff, they do it for a reason so that like washes and stuff for fur coats like look good, right? They can't sculpt for necessarily like super high-end painters that want to like, I want to paint my own texture on the fur, right? They have to sculpt for the general audience. This is why you gotta practice painting little lines. Okay, so you can see as I'm going around, right, I'm just creating trying to create like little lines. Also, what I'll do sometimes is I'll have little brush strokes cross between the tufts. Okay, this will help make it feel like it's one big thing instead of like a bunch of individual things. So don't be worried about like if the lines go in the recesses. just try and focus on like the direction the hair grows. Okay. Yeah, they're essentially like stray hairs. Eric, I picked up like 50 basic MTG lands after our class. I loved everything about the idea. None of them are nearly as interesting. What set did you give us? So they're like kind of hand-picked ones. I just went through like bulk lands at the local store, you know. Also, if they have like commons and uncommons, you can like kind of find some dual lands and stuff. Some of like the guild gates and things are really interesting. You know, you could also just like look them up online. Just because there's a lot of available art online of Magic cards. Unless you really want the physical copy to like paint on. No, that's a secret. That's secret for the class. If you take my in-person class, okay? That's not so secret. I use Magic the Gathering lands as a supplemental tool for my ambience workshops. I'm also so as I come around the front, right, you can see it's getting brighter and we're starting to like build up some of that texture, okay? But it doesn't look like spaghetti. That's what we're trying to avoid. Inferno, thanks for the tier 1, man. Appreciate it. He can't get me from Sydney. Also was a lie. Oh, we got the Aussies in here arguing again. The Aussies are waking up and getting at each other. I'm going to try and do some beginner intermediate skills classes at Nova, trying to get a wee bit better. That's good, man. Like, yeah, I wouldn't. So here's this is bad for business, but I wouldn't recommend taking too many. Some people kind of overdo it and they go like, they literally cram as many classes as they can into the weekend. And I think you can kind of overdo it where it's like you need some time to like process the information you've taken in. So I would be a little pickier on like who and what classes you want to take than just like shotgun method and just like take as many as you possibly can. I think you can kind of overdo it. Now, saying that, if you wanted to take one of my classes, I mean, I don't think it would be a bad idea. You're welcome. Don't get me started, Craigslog. I hope some of you guys are painting along with me. Not my particular model, but you know, getting some painting in while you listen and watch, you know? 6 classes? What's that? Like one a day plus maybe one extra? It's not that bad. It also depends on how long they are, but generally speaking, I think like 4 is probably good. If they're a little longer. Hey, sculpting counts too. Which class is that, 5J? I'm so, I don't even know which class Saturday is. I'm teaching 4 classes at Adepticon, so you'll have to remind me which one the Saturday is. Is that the Space Marine Faces, or... So, okay, so that's kind of that layer. I missed some spots. 3 in one day. Whew, that's going to be a brutal day. Back to basics. Oh, yeah, I like that class. Back to basics, I think, is a good. It is a good one. I'm pretty happy with that class. It really goes into some of the like foundational skills that aren't really taught, like more art foundational skills that aren't really taught in miniature painting. Things that get kind of glazed over, and how I've been trying to work on it, but how we misuse some terminology and stuff in miniature painting compared to traditional art. Okay, so you can see it's like, hopefully, starting to look softer now. There's some more like shape and form. Eric, do you find yourself sculpting or filling in much fur or hair texture in models if it's particularly over sculpted? Not really. You can. Dave Caldwell actually recommended to me to use, you can paint Elmer's glue over top of it. And that'll kind of reduce the texture. So you find a really old crappy brush and you Elmer's glue, white glue, whatever you want, whatever it's called, PVA, yeah. That'll reduce the texture a little bit, fill in some of the recesses. Yes, but once it dries, it's fine. Like, you can paint over top of it. I didn't realize we called him DC. Oh, the DC. Big Davo. All right, so now we're going to go straight to the bone white. We'll see how this is, if I need to add a little more white to it. Hi, Rubik's Cube. Hello, how are you? So see how that's pretty subtle of a difference? That might not be a big enough jump. You don't think you've ever heard someone call him Davo? Really? JCDC? Akadaka? Jackadaka? I've been trying to break down all the stuff from the LVO class. It's a lot. Yes, it is a 3-day master class is an intense workshop. I'm working hard and want to improve my results, but I sure wasn't instantly absorbed by my brain. Yeah, it's going to take some time. I sort of left the class the opposite of Jude Nelson at the end of the Breakfast Club. I'll have to book a session in a month or two to gauge process. It's all a process. Okay? Everything is a process. It takes time to let certain things click, you know. Hopefully you'll be painting something and then be like, that's what he meant by when he said this. No, there's still, well, are you talking about my classes, specifically Rubik's Cube, or are you talking about any classes? Because there's still plenty of classes available from good instructors. Yes, all my classes are sold out, but... So you can see now that we've jumped to a little more white. In the mixture, it's a little clearer. Yeah, there's still classes available. Well, now that they've moved to a new venue, they're offering something like double the number of classes this year. They have a lot more classroom space at the new place. Okay, you can see now like the texture getting built up. And I'm focused on like the top of the kind of the more top of the volume. Okay. Almost like these teardrop shapes. Yeah, I like the new hotel for Nova. My only problem with the Hilton, right? The DC Hilton, is the little bit of lack of vendor space available. I know there's some people that would be interested in being a vendor at Nova, and there's just not a ton of space for that at the moment. They just fill up so much room for gaming tables, you know? But I love Nova. If anybody is thinking about coming, you should, because, you know, it happens to have, in my humble opinion, the best miniature painting contest in the US. Yeah, the vendor area at Nova is nothing like it is at Adepticon. It's massive at Adepticon. And that's even nothing compared to Gen Con. I have to say, Eric, painting hair the way you taught in your workshop has been great. Never thought to paint hair that way. But I've done that for fur and other similar textures. Well, thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like freeing, like to not sit there and try and like perfectly paint the sculpt. Oh, speaking of fur, hey, you guys want a sneak preview of box art that I'm working on? Do you? Nah. Yeah, nah. Nah, yeah. This is the Orc Man I'm working on for Black Crow. Shh, don't tell Black Crow. And here's his fur. You can see it's the same technique. So this is less sculpted than the one on him. I'm gonna work. So, yeah, he's coming along. Thanks, those rivets took forever. I painted those like those the brigandine like all day yesterday. It was really fun. It doesn't make sense, Shibudo, for their height. Dwarves are definitely not on top. They also live under a mountain, so that's even less on top. Nah, dwarves are cool. I paint a lot of dwarves and orcs and elves. I paint a bit of everything. I feel like I paint less humans than anything else. It's like odd for me when I'm like, oh, I get to paint a human. Have you been stuck on something that takes more than a day to figure out? No, I mean, there's just stuff that just takes time. It's just time because it's either a lot of little details and rivets that you've got to be real clean and careful. So yeah, it's more just the sheer volume of something, you know, like, oh, I got to paint 100 rivets. Search just humans in italics. Nah, they're not the same. They can't grow facial hair, so. Oh, got it. How do you approach structured practice? Is it just like focus on skin tones for weeks? Oh, it's way longer than that, dude. I've talked about it before, but when I was learning to paint non-metallic, I painted nothing but knights in full armor for like a year. It was like any model I could find that was like covered in plate mail. And I'm like, yep, that's the That's what I'm going to paint. I'm just going to paint that nonstop. Literally anything. It was a lot of like Kingdom Death Knights, like bus, large scale stuff, just literally anything that was like, what can I practice a lot of non-metallic on? Okay, like the whole model didn't need to be non-metallic, but like the majority of the process was painting NMM. Like if you want to learn to paint faces, just paint a lot of academic bus. Watching one video on YouTube is in fact not enough. $10,000 hours or something, you know? All right, so you should be able to see. And now it's starting to read a bit more like fabric, or not fabric, fur. It's looking kind of soft. Hi, Jonas. How are you? I mean, it will work. It will definitely get you sort of the general colors to use. But in what ratio you use those colors and etc., maybe not so much. Yeah, I think people wish there was a cheat code in life to be good at a lot of things. I'd like to have a six-pack. Is there a cheat code for that? No, it turns out it's not. It's just dieting and exercise. Ugh. I'd rather paint. Yeah, I should watch YouTube videos on how to get a six-pack. That'll help out, right? If I watch enough of those, I'll just get one. Oh, these parts are hard. All right, here we got it. These are really difficult to see from the main view anyways, but these little tiny strands like behind his collar thing. His gorget? I don't know if that's gorget? Gorget? I don't know how that's actually pronounced, to be honest. I don't know if that's a German word or a French word, but that's this thing right here. Gorget. That's how I always pronounce it, but you know, I don't know the correct the actual correct pronunciation. Someone look up the etymology. What's the origin of the word? It's French. Gorget. So it's gorget. Google says gorget. Old French. Well, maybe. Because French pronunciation has changed over years, where they decided to drop the last letter of pronouncing words. So maybe it was originally gorget. Yeah, then why is it there? Oh, it's spelled with a T and E at the end, which means you would pronounce it. Yeah, dude, the gorget. Welcome to the gorget. Dude, have you ever heard one of the French patois people speak? It's like the Louisiana patois. It's crazy. Hi, Sean. I'm talking like the real swamp people. Like mix of English and French. Kind of what what's his name? They tried to sort of do with Gambit in Deadpool Wolverine. Gorget. Hi, Roxana. Hello. So I'll say it one more time for the new people. If you are sub Friday, we're going to do the feedback stream. If you can join the Discord, if your Discord and Twitch are linked, and you have a sub, you get access to the Feedback Friday channel where you can post a work in progress or a completed figure. And Friday, I will do a short feedback session for you. You can find the link to the Discord below if you're not already a member. Come hang out, talk about miniature painting. It's all right. You can talk about audiobooks too if you want. I'll probably post the VOD, or I'll leave the VOD will be available on what's it called? Oh, I understand. Thanks. Thanks for the 10 gifted subs. So all you those people, if you just got a sub, you now also can have access to the feedback channel. Speaking of books, just finished the second book of the original Mistborn series. Looking forward to the third book. I have yet to read Mistborn. I started, what did I start recently? Warbreaker? Yeah. I've been listening to a little bit of Warbreaker. Dude, I tried listening to the Horus Heresy books. I could not get into them. It was like, oh my God, there's 40 of these? Like, I couldn't even make it through the first one. Well, I would tell you if you've read what is the name? Sorry, my brain just decided to quit. Way of Kings. If you like Way of Kings and you like Sword Need Me, then yeah, that's what Warbreaker is about. I've never read the Dresden Files. Please don't be angry with me. I just haven't gotten around to it. I'm aware of them. I have Way of Kings going to start on that after the Hero of Ages. I love listening to some audiobooks while I paint. It's I find it very relaxing and something I can do. I know some people have a hard time like concentrating on both at the same time, but if you paint as much as I do, it kind of becomes second nature, so it's a little more reasonable to do both at the same time. All right, so now you can see that like as we've gotten up to the white, some of these like darker areas look really dark, yeah? So what we're gonna do, I want to actually like, I want to add a little color to this guy. So we're gonna take some red, just a little bit, just a touch, okay? Take a little bit of red and some of the bone color. I'm gonna mix like a slightly pinkish tone here, okay? Add some color variation to the fur. Okay, and then we're going to thin it way down. Not to like a glaze, but pretty thin. And then we're going to kind of fill in some of these really darker shadows in the upper areas. All right? Some of these are like too dark now in comparison. So we're trying to soften it even more. a little more pink. Well, we got quite a few of the oceanic crowd. But you guys have jobs to do, huh? Just sit on the beach all day drinking Fosters. I'm really trying to make some... Your budgie smugglers. People drink VBS. Very bests? Is that a thing? Is that like a US version of like Natty Light or something? It's like really the just horrible beer in Australia. The like super cheap stuff. Victoria Bitter. VB long neck. Here we have, it used to be like natural ice. That was like super cheap. Mickey's is also like really, really cheap beer. All right, so we're going to take a little of this guy, the ground brown. We're going to mix just a touch of the red into it. Okay, and then we're going to thin it to like a wash. Like a glaze consistency. I'm going to remove some of it. See, I've got my paper towel here. Like I'm removing quite a bit of it on the paper towel. And then I want to come back in and kind of, as the fur gets lower here, I'm going to layer some of this on top to sort of bring back the natural shape to the fabric, right? Or to the fur. So it rounds over a little bit. Okay, because as I painted more and more highlights and things, so I was pushing up the values, it starts to lose some of the overall shape. So we need to bring a little of that back. All right. That's pretty accurate, Alexi. From what I've seen from Australians, that's the Polish also, by the way. So this is how much Polish people like drinking. when Golden Demon was in Essen, they rented a bus for all the Polish guys going to the Golden Demon, and they just drank on the bus the whole way there. Irish people talk about how much they can drink. Polish people live it. I will be at World Model Expo. Yes, indeed. I'll be there. With bells on. Not actually, but yeah. That's the expression. Okay, just trying to restore a little bit of shape here. A little bit of shape in here. Okay, kind of see that? So just using something in between like a glaze and a wash, you know. Just to restore some overall shape to his pelt. Yeah, earlier I was saying I always felt like I cover up too much from one step to the next. Yeah. This should and then now if it's like there's some areas that I look at and go like, okay, you know what, I went like a little too heavy here. Right, I can always come back and just say like down here, right, where it got a little dark. It's easy to come back and just like hit a few little spots on some of these guys just to bring back some light on these elements. There we go. Craig's Org, thanks for the tier 1, man. Appreciate it. Okay, so that's kind of the fur, right? I could get like more detailed with it and really like come in and try and super clean some of this stuff up. Maybe create just a little more separation in some areas. I mean, it's a gaming figure for one, right? So do I want to paint this thing to like display quality? Maybe not. I like my gaming figures to look pretty nice, but I also not trying to win any awards with them or anything. Just trying to have fun and have them look good on the table. Okay? So I don't need them to be like ultra refined. But a little extra effort on the ones I really like. Nah. Skis is fine. Don't worry about that. Okay. So that's kind of the fur, right? Okay, I'm going to take a quick break. Be back in a couple minutes, and we will continue on. Okay, so what do we want to work on next? Let's work on these little scale mail plates. These are super tiny. So I'm going to bust out the spectacles. Okay. Guys, I need to be able to see. So these things here. I'll zoom them in. All right. Yeah, it's time to paint tiny dots. All right, here we go. So they're little triangles, right? We got to paint them like one at a time. So I need to make sure I leave the black in between. Okay. Oh, I'm off camera. See, this is the tough part. All right, here. All right, now I should be good. Yeah, good here. All right. So these are all be quite bright. Don't worry, we have to layer on top of these also. We can't, because we're going for a non-metallic on these too. And then because this is a plastic model, it's not perfect. So I have to kind of like make some of it up in some of the areas where it's slightly less detailed. Well, I'll tell you what, Sebastian, you'll never see this guy do it because I avoid dragons. I'm not the dragon guy. Ask Tim Marsh or Michał Szymeczko. Meow's so funny. Every time he paints a dragon, he's like, oh my god, I'm never painting a dragon again. It took forever. And then like 2 months later, he's like, I'm painting another dragon. Just when I think I'm out, they pull me back in. I've done 2 dragons ever. One's behind me and one is downstairs. One's the Kingdom Death Dragon and one was a dragon, the Archangel for War Machine and Hordes. The Legion of Everblight dragon. And that's the only 2 dragons I've ever painted and the only 2 dragons I will ever paint. Unless they come out with another dragon for Kingdom Death. Then I guess I have to paint another dragon. But besides that, that's the only 2 dragons I've ever painted. So you can see, hopefully, that I'm just kind of like painting the triangles. Right. Just using little dots to paint the little individual scales. Okay. He's got more on his arm because of course he does. He's got more everywhere. He's got a ton on his down here too. I'm not going to show I'm not going to do all of them for you guys. Like I'll do some of these on my own because I don't think you want to watch me paint dots for 4 hours. But so that's like the first step, okay? Well, I'll tell you what, Richard, if you want, on YouTube, you can go back and watch me do this part 4 times. Okay, how's that? All right, so I'm going to take some of this guy, some of this guy. I'm going to mix a kind of medium blue-gray. Okay. Now I want to think about like the shape and start to pick out certain ones that are going to get like the most reflection. Okay, so this part here, these will be brighter. Hello, Captain Jonesy. Welcome. Okay. So what I'm trying to do is think about like the orientation of the scales and like depending on how they're angled, right? So if I pull out, if I show you the knife real quick, right? Like here it looks dark. Just that much of an angle is like medium gray, right? So I turn it from like, here is dark, here's medium, and there's like white, right? And it's like a change of 10 degrees to get it to do that, okay? So this is what I'm kind of trying to simulate here with these dots, is that the ones that are like in the same orientation that are facing the light are going to be really bright. See, I'm mad for minis, and the ones that are not facing directly at the light will be darker, all right? Now the edges of them would catch, so I will like place just a, if you can even see that, let's go super zoomed. So like some of these, right, this one might only catch light on the edge. But the ones that are in orientation with each other will get the same reflection. And we can play around with that a little bit. So at later on, I'll kind of like make some like irregular so that they look like slightly out of position. Right now I just want to get sort of the overall shape of what's going on. My little hot dog, hi. I'm going to zoom out again because that's too much. And it's hard to stay in center of camera when I'm that zoomed in. So it's like there's like a waviness to the scale mail here, okay? Now some of these medium gray scales are already looking like pretty bright, but we've still got a long way to go. All right, so they're going to get much brighter than this. So I cover a little more than maybe what you might think at the beginning, because we have so much further to push. Okay, so something like that, right? If you see it in comparison to his helmet, you can see it's not nearly as intense, right? So now we're going to take more of this blue, this light blue. You can see on the palette, we're still not at white yet, right? It's still got a little ways to go. But inside of these now, I'm going to start to pick out the ones that match where the main reflection on his helmet is. Okay, so think about this, like look at his helmet, see that the brightest white is here. So I want to think about things that are in the same like orientation, right? Like look at me on camera, right? So it's like, it doesn't, as long as it doesn't matter if they're like this or this, right? It matters if it's like this or this, okay? So these are in the same plane orientation. These are in like, this is in different orientations, okay? So ones that are in the same orientation get the same amount of light. So here, right, these are all mostly the same. Then down here, that like kind of curves in and around. So these then kind of show up again right here. Then they curve, and then they show up kind of here. Hi, Dave. And then we get some more reflected like that. So it gives this like curve to the shape, right? Because it's like, it's a loose thing that's happening. It's that like, it's like cloth, but it's made up of, you know, metallic scales. Okay. All right, now we can take some of the ivory and mix it with some of this guy to make like a really light blue. You can see this is like basically white now. And these should look like very shiny. So even less of them will get this extreme light. And then you can like kind of play around with it a little bit, and like maybe some of them are slightly out of place. I can use smaller dots to like hint that the light is reflecting off of like just the corner of it. Okay, something like that. Now, we can give some more general shape to it by actually toning, applying a glaze. So what this will do is, right now, there's black in the middle, like in between all of the scales, okay? I don't necessarily want black in between the like white scales. I want like a little bit of light there. So it would probably be black, but if the scales are so shiny, right? If we do something like this where it's like, it's so bright that we're kind of doing an effect where it's like bloom, right? So it's so intensely bright that it overpowers the shadows. Right? So on these whiter scales, I'm going to come in and use a glaze to like glaze into the shadows. And this will make the lights appear even brighter. Okay. So really intense, right? See that? See the difference here? That like now the black, they're not black in between the scales. It's like this dark blue instead. It's supposed to affect, like, these are so white that they're affecting the surrounding shadows. And then we can take a little black. And we can do the same for some of the really dark parts. So we can intensify the shadows a little more. Okay, so that's kind of the idea. Now I can come back and make little adjustments where I want, have some scales like pop out a little more. Now I'm looking here and like maybe some of these are a little too dark. And I can make small adjustments where I want, but the general idea and it didn't take that long, right? Shiny. Yes. Your ear? All right. Let's work on the gorget. Gorget. So we're going to do something similar here. Beccaroni, hello. Welcome. Thanks for following. So this guy, we need to think about it like it's going to reflect very similar to the helmet, right? So we have this angle on the helmet where on the gorget would it be similar? Delayed question, but why the red mixed into the wash for the fur? Just to add some color variation to it. Just to add a little tonal variety, you know? Got all these blues, right? So I want to add a little warmth, and I'm using reds in the cape and the leather. So adding just a hint of red to the fur can add some color harmony. So grateful for this. Is exactly the thing I need to paint. So painting companion. So that's what I like to hear, is that people are painting along with me. All right, so if we look at the helmet, kind of this angle right here, I'm going to sort of overdo it. But this is basically the position where it's the same as the helmet. Yeah, hobbying counts. Yeah, you know. I think my roommate's blacksmithing. All I can hear is the sound like ting, ting, ting every like 5 or no. What is it? Yeah, it's like this ting sound every like 2 seconds. No, he's playing Kingdom Come Deliverance too. He's not an actual blacksmith. So, right, so that gives us sort of the position that this main light's going to be. We get a little one in this. I don't know if this is supposed to be a hole or what. I'm going to paint it like it's a solid object, but it's very weird. So when you have these sorts of shapes with and doing non-metallics, really the most important thing on this is going to be how well you define all the edges, right? Because there's a lot of little shapes and edges to all these, I don't know what they are, feathers or something. Okay. So the bigger deal here is getting all these like shapes defined and where we place the edges. All right. So here, right? I'm looking at them and thinking like, where is the light going to hit and be the most intense? Some of these kind of the whole thing is, and actually some of them you'll often get a little highlight reflection in between them. Thanks, JC. Have a good rest of your day. So there you can see I'm kind of like going down, like they're getting smaller as they wrap around. What's up, Ethan? All right, so here, this shape right here, this thing's going to be like really strong highlight, right? On this edge. See, because it matches that shape. And that shape is repeated right here. It's repeated here, right? This orientation. You can see just how easy, like, it's how quickly it starts to look like metal. Just by really like defining these edges properly. Okay, so like here, little dots and lines, right? I am using a wet palette. This is a red grass wet palette with a reusable membrane. You can see, yep, right? As I push the light on these, it's going to make them, the intensity of the reflection, it's going to start to make these look more like metallic. And when you're, like I said, when you're doing these, like, this is not like painting the helmet, okay? When painting the helmet, you've got this like big shape that you need to figure out. This is all these little tiny shapes, right? And the edge is more important than anything else when kind of determining where or how to achieve this non-metallic effect, right? Yeah, see here, I will show you real quick. So you can do this, you can either, while it's black, you can see how shiny, like you can see this looks like there's a highlight right here, but this is still prime black, okay? So right, on these scales, you can see certain ones are like popping out more than others. No, it's fine. this will sort of show you where like the brightest part of the reflection is going to be on a non-metallic. It won't tell you where all the reflections are, but it'll inform you where the brightest reflection is if your black primer is kind of satiny. Okay. The other effect you can do is you can take some water, and I'll do it on these scales so you can kind of see it. If I paint a bunch of just water on top, you can see that like some of them start to get, let's do it in a bigger area with a little more water. All right. These are so small. Let's do it on this. Let's say this was a non-metallic shape, right? As I just paint some water on this, you can see like that it now has a reflection on it, okay? And then if you hold the figure in the viewing angle and use the light as like if the light was coming from the direction it's coming from, that'll tell you where like the main reflection point is. So you just use some water in your eyeballs and a light source, and that'll kind of inform you. Kit Fox, hello. Now, if you do the water trick, make sure it's dry before you go to put paint on it, or else the paint's going to run everywhere. But it'll at least like give you an idea of where that reflection should go. PLB Miniatures, thanks for following. Welcome. Thank you. I guess we're a bit higher viewers than normal. For all the new people, if you don't know me, my name's, I guess I can do an introduction. My name is Eric. I am a professional miniature painter. I work and instructor. I work for many brands. I've done work on War Machine and Hordes, Monster Apocalypse. I've taught official classes for Games Workshop. I paint for do a lot of box artwork for some of the large scale figure manufacturers. And yeah, that's about it. That's me. Hi, welcome. Yeah, I try on the last part, Awkwardish Panda. Aspiring, how about that? And you see, as I push the light more, it gets smaller, but it looks even more metallic-y. They look like metallic now, right? And you can see that we didn't really do much like blending or anything. All we did was kind of define edges, right? See ya. Okay, so now just some white dots. These are the tings, all right? I like to call them the tings. Like the sound effect when someone smiles in a toothpaste commercial, you know? It's that like ding. You know, it's that bright little shine. Let's look at the can, right? This is the ting. Okay, right here. Oh, it's so shiny. Excuse you, I do not have any tips for you on wet blending because I don't do it. So, no, I would not do that. They don't pay me anything, so why would I paint Space Marines? So. Now, if Red Bull wanted to sponsor me to paint a Space Marine kill team, Red Bull themed, then maybe we'd be on to something, but until then, they actually have sponsored a miniature painting event before. It was like the Dogma 48 kind of thing where they did like a speed painting something or other. It's pretty funny. Richard, thanks for the prime. And ink. You're going to have to help me with that one. Ink Park Bum? Ink Burp? I don't know. Thanks for the tier 1. I appreciate it. So, speaking of subs, I'll remind people in case, because people like to come in and drop out of the stream. If you are on the Discord and you have a sub and you've linked your Discord to your Twitch account, which is very easy. Friday, we will be doing a feedback stream. You can submit your photos in the subscriber-only Feedback Fridays Discord channel, and I will do live feedback on either your work in progress or your finished figure. I heard there's this thing called Golden Demon coming up, so if you want to get some feedback on maybe your Golden Demon entry. It's, yeah, he's wearing a helmet, so it's like the face slits are his, yeah, his face mask. His helmet looks kind of like an onion. I like his helmet a lot, actually. I think it's a really cool design. All right, so we're going to take a little of the ground brown mixed with the black and just a touch of the dark blue. Mix this kind of like dark bluish gray, dark gray brown kind of color. And now we need to start filling in some of these lower facing planes to give some reflectivity on this really dark side. Okay, just like we did on the helmet, right? Kind of painting the ground reflection here in his face, in the gorget. That's gonna repeat over here. It's very subtle at the moment, but we have to work our way up. And grab some of the neutral gray. Okay. You guys see that? Ew! Inferno. Thanks for the 5 gifted sub. Wait, is Miniatures Den actually in here? Is he watching right now? Is Vincenzo up in this? It hasn't said anything. Thanks for the 5 gifted subs. Appreciate it. Did he fall asleep to me? Appreciate it a lot. Yeah, I don't know how much. I don't always know how this stuff works. I'm gonna do paint some minis, okay? I like things analog. Says the guy who used to be a computer programmer and all right, how's that look for shininess? It's looking all shiny and metallic-y. Living shiny in chrome. What's the actual line from Fury Road? Eric, you're a pro, so what do you think about using Rust-Oleum? No, please don't. Please do not use Rust-Oleum for figures. Okay. If you want a decent primer that you can buy like anywhere, like aerosol primer, go to an auto parts store and buy like black sandable auto body primer, okay? Like you can get pretty good primer from an auto parts store, okay? Please don't use like generic Rust-Oleum. That stuff is crap. Yeah, that also works. That's what I use to prime this guy. Some other people might tell you they hate airbrush primer. It works okay for me. But yeah, please, anything but Rust-Oleum 2X, whatever. Like, I wouldn't prime my like crappy flower pots with it. Come at me, Rust-Oleum. What are you going to do? What is a hype chest? What is this? I'm gonna open it. Let's see. Kitty height emo. Yay! Choo choo. Yeah. Sad. Don't use that stuff. At all. Like if it has the word Rust-Oleum on the can, I wouldn't trust it. You can tag their Twitter account for all I care. So what I'm doing here, you can see I'm making these little tiny marks. I'm just trying to introduce some more like noise and variation to the non-metallic. And then here, I'm actually painting like in the recess, okay, which will create some more like some more reflectivity to the surface. I gotta assume they do, doesn't everyone? Like every brand has a Twitter account. Sorry, X, whatever you want to call it. I'm not getting into all that. How does that feel, guys? Does it look shiny? Did you never refer to one of the greatest guitar players of all time, Prince, and Twitter in the same sentence? Cause tonight we're gonna party like it's 1999. Probably, yeah. I'll do whatever I want, all right? If I want to sing some Prince, I will. Talk about party man. Dude, you guys ever like actually go back and listen to some of the old Batman movie soundtracks? Like, I'm talking like the Michael Keaton, like George Clooney era Batman soundtracks. They were really good. I gotta take these off for a bit. Yeah, I'm just saying, Kiss from a Rose. They were killer. Oof. It's taking me a minute. Hold on. My eyes have to readjust. I'm just saying, Batman soundtracks were kind of goated. All right, what's your favorite movie soundtrack? Not OST. All right, this is a different original soundtrack. That's different. Like we could talk about like Lord of the Rings, or like Braveheart. Those are OSTs, right? Original soundtrack, like kind of compilation style soundtrack. Do you have a favorite? And though it was a terrible movie, the mini Mad Cat with the rate of 8. Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome. Thanks for joining. What were you working on? The what was the name? The Godzilla? I'm talking the American Godzilla one, you know, with Hank Azaria and what was the guy that played Ferris Bueller? Oh, Highlander is really good. Yeah, Highlander is really good. Guardians of the Galaxy might be, yeah, one of the best. Thanks, Mini Mad Cat. Matrix was also really good. John Wick. I don't know if I remember John Wick's soundtrack. Crow, all right. Reservoir Dogs, yeah. Quentin Tarantino tends to do pretty good soundtracks, actually. Watchmen actually had a pretty good soundtrack, though it didn't really feel like it fit with the movie. Gut piles? What are gut piles? I feel like, yeah, Tron Legacy's an OST. Like, though it was by Daft Punk, it's like music made specifically for the movie, and it's not really like Daft Punk's normal stuff. Baby Driver also had a really good one. What is my favorite video game soundtrack? Ooh, you know, modern era video game soundtrack, I would probably say like Bloodborne. Witcher 3's is really good. Yeah, someone said Forrest Gump earlier. Yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 is just like, how many times do you want to listen to Down, Down, Down by the River? Boom, 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 boom. Like, all right. That's the same with the original Baldur's Gate. Like, dum, 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 dum. Boom, 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 boom. CSB510, thanks for following. Welcome. Can the Rocket Man soundtrack be considered a soundtrack? Yeah, I get it, but that's like saying Bohemian Rhapsody. It's like kind of a, I don't know if we can include like musical biopics in that, because then it's just a greatest hits album. Like, all right, it's just like, oh, but what about Walk Hard's soundtrack? You know, like, oh, you mean just the greatest hits? Okay, yeah, sure. Pretty good. Hey, go get up, move around, you know? You need to do that about once an hour. I recommend save your back. Get up and move about once an hour. I probably need to do the same. I really like Hollow Knight's soundtrack too. Classic video game soundtracks, like Dude, Mega Man X2, killer. Banger soundtrack. Hotline Miami had a pretty good soundtrack. Other classics, Super Metroid. Yeah, Final Fantasy VII soundtrack's pretty strong. F-Zero. Bam, bam, ding, 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 ding. You guys know that one. It's a Mute City. I mean, Halo had Steve Vai, you know? Like, it's pretty good. I wasn't a big Command and Conquer guy. I'm actually not very good at RTSs. I like Warcraft 3, but I mostly played like the hero modes. But yeah, I played through the campaign, but all right. How's he looking? How's he going? All right. Not bad. Doing okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to like, should probably just do this with a, like a contrast paint or something. Would probably be easier. Oi, my fingers. All right, I think I'm going to take a quick break. Okay, and then when I come back, we'll continue on something else. And while I'm gone, you can continue to name good video game soundtracks. All right, be right back. So what are we talking about? We were thinking about working on this quilting thing, huh? This little quilted pattern. Well, thank you, Mad Cat. The mini Mad Cat. It's a Gambison. Gambison. Is that another French word? A lot of armor is French words I've come to discover. Ooh. So kind of the idea with this is going to be, what I think we're going to do, how we're going to approach this, is we're going to do it similar in a way that we did the scales. Okay, so we're going to focus on like bringing light to the overall shape, right? So we want more light on this part here, this forward facing section. So we want to get like the rough shape of it in, because it can be really easy to like overdo the like individual squares and lose like the general shape. Okay. So we're going to get the overall shape in first. You see that kind of desaturates it a little too fast. So I need something that's like a little warmer. Some kind of like slightly orangish red. You can use like this guy, orange brown. Yeah, though, just like, yeah, I mean, anytime you have this much detail parts, it's important to maintain the general shape of the object that you're painting. We can grab a little bit of the red we had up here. This should hopefully help us not lose too much color saturation. You can already see it starts to turn kind of grayish because this like whole red is very dark and desaturated. But I'm going to kind of paint from the top down like this, so we'll still keep some of the shadows in the recesses. It's okay if I fill in some of the recesses. It's not like the end of the world. Because what we're going to do is use like a dark wash to bring some of the overall shape back, or some of the individual like square details. Okay, so that gives me kind of like a general shape. The Mad Cat. It's never big into Mech Warrior. I didn't have like a PC to play those games back in the day. So now what I'm doing is I'm kind of like trying to highlight sort of the top. I'm sort of doing the opposite of what I did to the scales, where instead now I'm like hitting the top and center of each one of these little squares. Played a lot of Baldur's Gate when I was young, but I played it at my friend's house, so. Till I eventually got a PC that, you know, could run way better games than Baldur's Gate, and I still play Baldur's Gate. Or like the Warcraft 3 era, you know. Oh, yeah, dude, I played some Fallout 2 on my friend's computer also. Fallout 1 and 2. It's good games. All right, so yeah. So you can see I'm kind of like hitting the top parts of the individual squares. And that's okay for right now. Now I'm going to push it a little bit more. A little more of the bone white in the mix. Now on the main view squares, I'm going to push that light even further. Okay, something like that, right? So that works okay, but it's like too much right now, right? It's like way kind of overdone. So what I'm gonna go do is I'm gonna grab this dark red looking for it. Well, I thought I had it over there. What did I do with it? My brain. My brain, where's my colors? Oh. Well, we can grab the the alizarin crimson. Yeah. Okay. So this is an ink, but it's not like super shiny like most inks. You can see the color on alizarin crimson is like this warm, slightly orangish red color. And I'm gonna get this nice and fluid, right? And this is gonna bring back some of that red color, but also shadow the recesses and tone down some of these squares that I've kind of over highlighted. And blow on it to make sure I pop those bubbles. And this kind of like helps bring it back together, okay? Then if I need, I can come in and I can like, or I can add an extra glaze on top to reunify it or soften some parts even more. I've been having people recently tell me they're avoiding washes because they want to become a better painter, and seeing you implement a wash makes me happy that I was a silly. Yeah, dude, like this is the problem, okay? People think they like that some of these like techniques that make things easy like are cheating, or like, oh, I do it the hard way. And it's like, okay, like, cool. Yeah, I mean, look, should you dry brush everything? No. Right? There's like that only gets you one result. But saying that there's like no use for washes when there's clearly use for washes, like they're good at certain things. So yeah, I don't know, whatever. People are it's the same mentality of like, oh, you used summons in Elden Ring? Prop governor. Did I miss EC 506? Maybe I did. Yeah, sorry if I did. If you followed while I was on my break, but welcome. Yeah, sure, why not, you know? Speaking of dry brushing, how can I practice that? I recommend you go watch the Artist Opus YouTube channel first and get advice from an actual expert in dry brushing, because I am not. That ain't me. It ain't me. It ain't me. Yeah, that's not saying I'm better, right? I'm not saying I'm better than dry brushing, because I use it on stuff like rocks and things. Okay, it has its uses. But he's an actual like he does things with dry brushing that I'm like, oh. No, it's just like I wouldn't take my advice on how to use an airbrush either. I know how to use one and I use it from time to time. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, airbrushing is cheating. It's just I'm not like a super expert on. I do very basic things with an airbrush. So if you want advice on an airbrush, go ask someone who's like an actual expert with an airbrush. All right, so that's kind of the feeling we're looking for with the Gambison, and then I'll do this side on my own. because you don't really need to watch me do both. I totally missed painting this piece of fur right here. I'm going to get that before I forget. Yeah, it's like, does it work from here? You know, that's kind of the idea with blocking in the highlights of the metallics. I'm interested, does it work as an effect, right? Like at a distance, can you kind of read that's like, oh, that's where they go? All right, get those before I forget, because I will forget. I'm good at that. It's been like, oh, just totally missed this part. Whoops. So what I'm doing here is I'm just where I blocked these in, and they kind of give me an idea where they go. But I'm going to just take a black kind of wash over the top to restore some of the details, so that when I go to like hand paint all the little highlights and everything on the metallic, that at least I have that underneath where I can see it, and then I can build back up to the light. Get some highlight on the chest armor right here. Get that little shiny spot. What else? We gotta probably need to go ahead and just fix these elements. So these little elements around his tabard are gonna be like a brass gold kind of stitch that goes around the bottom. So I want to make sure I have a nice dark base coat that I can build on top of, and there's like a nice line separating them. If I tried to paint on top of the blue, I might lose that like nice black line that separates the trim from the rest of it. I'm all about that definition, y'all. You want to make your minis pop? Huh? Yeah, you like things to pop? Make it defined. Kaza06, thanks for the follow. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Yeah. Some of these very awkward spots to get to. Oh no. Yeah. So make sure you define around these parts. The black lining stuff is important, okay? It's not about contrast, it's about definition. Contrast is just a tool to reach, to help you achieve definition, okay? Yeah, write that down. One of my I like that emote, but one of my favorite emotes is the Pepe like writing down emote. I think that one's hilarious. I'll try and get the Pepe. I'm gonna try and find the Pepe writing emote. I'll make it one of mine because I also enjoy it. It's very funny. Okay, so that's kind of that area. He's got all these leather belts and things, but I need to paint all this stuff first before I paint this. Inside outside is generally a good tip when painting stuff like this. It's or any figure like with a lot of details are small because you have a high likelihood of making errors on things you've already painted, like accidentally touching parts that you've already worked on. So generally I like to work inside out. So areas that are the deepest and then you work up from there, okay? So that you don't accidentally paint on top of things that you've already worked on. Big brain stuff. 200 IQ. Here's another tip for you guys. Are you ready? You can write this one down too. All right. This one's some seriously secret knowledge, okay? If you want to paint faster, don't mess up. Yeah. How about that? Jot that down. That means it could mean taking your time or just you know, not making mistakes. No, painting things twice. That's it's repainting stuff is what takes the most amount of time. Yeah, do you want to know my secret? I'm always messing up. I had some lady like yell at me on Facebook one time. I was giving feedback to a guy on one of the channels, I don't know, heavier metal or something. And she was like, "It's not a mistake. There are no mistakes." Just like trying to quote Bob Ross at me. And I was like, "No, lady, like he painted it like that's supposed to be, the light's supposed to go there." Like, sometimes mistakes are actually mistakes. Yeah, that one got me. Good job, Richard. That one actually made me laugh. Oh, tiny. So look at this. Dude, look at this tiny little belt buckle. It's so small. Oh man, dude, you guys know it. Love me some straps. Did y'all get some good snow a couple weeks ago? I did, actually. We got snow on my birthday. We were supposed to go out and it snowed. We got a bunch of snow. So we stayed in and just played Kingdom Death instead. So, you know, there was that. And it was terrible. It was the worst birthday, just having to not leave my house and play Kingdom Death. Ugh. Ruined. I'll tell you what. I was really beat up about it, as you can tell. See, Mad Cat. Thanks for the raid and thanks for hanging out. Sincerely too for the follow. Thank you very much. Welcome. What are we gonna work on? What do we want to do? This still needs a little work on it. I need couple little brighter areas. Some of these lines could be. So let me explain something real quick before we jump into doing this. So this is the main view, right? When you're doing non-metallic, you kind of have to pick a main view because reflections are dependent on the viewer, okay? However, this is a gaming figure and not just a display figure. So he needs to look good from other angles, all right? So I'm going to come over here, all right? And this is now, so this is the main view, right? But some of that view gets lost from over here. So what I'm going to do is from this view now, I'm going to start to introduce like a second light, another reflection. Okay, so I'm going to push some of these also in order to give some more light and reflectivity on this side of the model. Okay, so it doesn't really interfere with the main view and kind of helps give some more definition to this secondary view. Actually quite a bit further along on this guy than I sort of thought we would get today. I don't know how much more I have to really show on him. Like there's a lot of little elements that still need to be painted, but in terms of like technique wise, feel like a lot of it has been covered. I don't know. Next project. What should it be? I've got a couple things. I've got the detective from Mark, the Sherlock one. I also have, let's see here. I have like the elf guy. I have this guy from Black Crow. One with the like cool metallic dragon shoulder pad. So we have him also. We could maybe work on this. I like this guy's face a lot. I don't have Wukong. Victor took it from me. I don't have any of the historics busts, no. Did I back the... Does anybody want to tell Brutal Burrito? Did I back... It's fine. Did I back the Quilted Paint Kickstarter? Brutal Burrito. This is... I did 2 of the box arts for the Quilted Paint Kickstarter. I did the guy on the tiger, the like lizard tiger, and I did the bust of the like kind of Aztec elf girl. I've got his goblin their goblin coming at some point too, the MPO one. Andy's supposed to send me the gobbo. I like it. The little night goblin guy. I might paint him. Well, I'm gonna paint him. Just maybe I'll do him on stream because he's cool. Yeah, yes, I did order them, I think. I'm pretty sure I ordered them. Because I was like, somebody will want these. And I think they're kind of cool. The Black Crow elf. I'm kind of leaning towards that, actually. I could paint a little... I don't want to call him an academic bust. He's definitely not quite an academic bust. But he's on the smaller side. And those, I think, always make kind of fun stream projects. You guys ever get bored of hearing me talk about the same stuff, though? Like... She's like, okay, so we're going to paint NMM again. I'm going to explain an NMM. I need to paint the detective before MFC. Okay, sure, why not? I'll enter it at in historical at World Model Expo too. I'll see if I can get it done. The Eminem. No, we're not doing that. I'm not doing the knitting pattern. You want to see how he did that? Buy the figure and watch him do it. That man is crazy. I am not painting all those dots. I was thinking houndstooth, you know? Yeah, cable knit's cool, but what if we did houndstooth instead? Really go all out on some squares. Are you all looking up what houndstooth is right now? It's a very intricate tessellation. Weave, whatever. It would take forever to do his whole jacket in that. A true exercise in patience, which is why we should do it. Just 8-hour stream, no talking, just painting tiny little squares. It's like visual ASMR, okay? You just watch me just super up close, just painting, just little squares one after the other. Okay. Let's think. What else is there that I really need to do on this guy tonight? We're at 3.5 hours. Typically pretty close to when we in stream. I don't think there's too much more I need to show tonight. Probably next week I'll do like, you know, so that we can see one more non-metallic. I'll probably do the sword. So in the interim, I will probably paint like this stuff. Yeah, like probably paint his leg plates because you guys can't even see them. I would have to like paint him upside down and that'd be horrible. I'll probably get most of this random stuff painted. And then we can do like the little leather straps and his sword. And I guess I could do the cape on camera if you want. Guys, tell me, do you want to see me like refine the cape, like smooth the cape, or no? I know you're going to say yes, but somebody could have been like, nah, not interested. Boring. Yes, I am doing Feedback Friday. So, Feedback Friday, if you're a member of the channel, first, you can join the Discord. It's linked below. Will there be a VOD like on YouTube? I haven't decided. So it'll be on... I'm not saying that, Dave. It's going to be like 2 hours. I'm not doing all night. So you can join the Discord. It's linked below. If you are a Twitch sub and your Twitch is linked to your Discord, which you can do through the Discord settings, there's a you connections thing. You can. It's pretty easy. I'll probably put it on YouTube. Maybe I'll make it like a private, like an unlisted video on YouTube, and or something. I don't know yet. Anyway, good. Get your connection through YouTube, right? Or you're through Twitch and your Discord. Get them connected. If you're a sub, there's a Feedback Fridays Discord private channel for subs only. You can post your work in progress in there. Your work in progress or completed figure, doesn't matter. And I will give feedback on Friday. The stream will be available to anyone, but you have to be a sub to submit photos for feedback. Okay, cool. Any questions? YouTube audience, thanks for watching. See you later.